finish up the gimmick. Okay, I might have already done that. I don't remember. I do too many of these. Anyway, I had to finish up the gimmick. That's why I didn't do a comic video. I did put up a lot of wrestling, though. But I did that unboxing. But I want to talk about Spider-Man. Now, arguably, the greatest run in Spider-Man history, my opinion, along with a lot of people's, is Stan Lee's 110-issue run in the beginning. After that, Spider-Man's always been iconic. He's gone through more writers than Batman, and that's saying something. Spider-Man's hard. Some people get him, some people don't. You got to have the quote-unquote lovable loser. He's a schlub by day, but when he puts the hood on, then he becomes a smart ass. He's always cracking wise. It's just that's the beauty of the character. He is a character you can kind of relate to. Well, Roger Stern took over on Spidey, and he had a couple of year run. It's all been collected into an omnibus. So we actually had a run. I'll tell you the numbers. This reprints pretty much everything. This is the quintessential run. He had like 27 issues of Spidey. I want to say it was like 18 issues. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. He had the Juggernaut come in. He had Madam Web was there. He introduced Captain Marvel, and he introduced, a foe to this day, the original Hobgoblin. So if you're ever looking for like a Hobgoblin, you should Google like, hey, Spider-Man Hobgoblin book. This is the big Omni that's going to come up. And I have this. It has been reprinted. We're going to crack it open. We're going to take a look at it. This is Spider-Man by Roger Stern. Here we go. Spider-Man by Roger Stern. Look at that beautiful, beautiful drawing. The goblin right there in full form. Here's the spine. It just says Spider-Man. And, of course, the back. Like all Marvel Omnis are going to tell you everything it collects. This particular one will collect Spectacular Spider-Man 43 through 61, 85. And then it collects the Amazing Spider-Man 206. Then the whole run from 224 to 252. And annual 16 and 17. Let's take off you can see it's got the Spidey logo on the back. And the front, I do like how DC does it. Marvel doesn't. Front does have, it just says simply Spider-Man Roger Stern Omnibus. Try to get it all in frame here for you. We've already cracked it, so it's won't take it. It's a massive book, so we'll just kind of go through a little bit. As you can see, open it up. It starts on his Spectacular Spider-Man run. Peter, he does get Peter the way Peter's done, just because he's, like I stated in the beginning, he knows how to make him just a normal dude that becomes a, giant smartass when he has the suit on. And in some of the cases, he fights just regular, nobody outrageously special. Bella is that lady's name. Peter Parker goes wild, and it, JJ, he's having some experiments done on him. But, yeah, Marvel had a lot of continuity. Everything continued. Robbie Robertson, all the old classics are in here. And Peter, like I said, he did it good. He's always got to save JJ, although I've always thought that it's not always good. You deflected that bullet towards me on purpose and all that. It's like, oh, geez. And it always has the spider web stuff in here, because you can write letters. Here's another Peter Parker. Someone's killing them all. And, another good storyline they're doing here. Nothing overly fancy. I mean, like I said, he was doing his books. These are great comics to read. Don't get me wrong. But, here's a really, now we've got the Vulture he brought back. Because Vulture was gone for quite a while. He brought the Vulture back. And he would bring people back like the old Marvel way, where they come at the last panel and then it all continues into the next issue. But yeah, the Vulture in these books was, an old guy that had basically a suit with feathers. But Peter didn't usually have a hard time beating him up. Now he's fighting the Cobra, another classic villain. A lot of classic villains that Stan Lee had created. Not all Stan Lee, but the majority. I know the Vulture for a fact. And, Roger brought all these guys back. Here's things are going to get dangerous. It's the new Prowler. Prowler now more famous thanks to the Spider-Verse film. But, here we go. Prowler always looked cool to have his Marvel Legends figure. And, Peter's got to fight him. He's just basically a cat burglar. He's nothing overly special. More letters going in here. As you can see, these all continue. There is a ton of continuity as I kind of flip a little faster through this, because the last thing you want to do is hear me talk for 40 minutes. The Smuggler, see? Another new one here. A lot of people they brought in. And Spider-Man, he made completely, in these books, he was completely a street-level hero, so to speak. He was not teaming up with S.H.I.E.L.D. or any of these people. He was doing straight, he was fighting the criminals in the New York metropolitan area. Sorry. But it all continues. We get the White Tiger is coming in now. All our spectacular spider mail. There. Got him in. Just, it was one long run. One episodic run. And Peter Parker and Amazing always kind of crossed over to a point. Not as much back then. Everything was referenced, but it was kind of contained. There's Mysterio, the old school Mysterio. This says the Stan Lee at the end did it. Here's our regular letters. And Aliens and Illusions. No, Mysterio did not know he was in these books. All just parlor tricks with the fishbowl. And, and that was it, Nothing overly spectacular. Hero killer. Some more Stan Lee story in the back. More spider mail. The Day of the Hero Killers. But as you're seeing all these, and we have the Amazing run. But what I want to do is start picking up a little bit more here. Because like I said, I don't want to bore anyone to death. Because we're still doing the Ravaged by the Ringer. Here is the I Want Spider-Man. Now we've got the book, The Beetle. All these classic villains that you just can't get enough of. And like I said in The Beetle, Peter Parker. That's one of the iconic covers, too. That's a double-sized issue. That was issue 60. He's sometimes would have to fight multiple foes. Still going into Peter. That's the Moonstone is a harsh mistress. Now we're going to Amazing. Now Aunt May's doing some more business. Peter, he's by this run, he's not living at home. He's got his shithole apartment that he lives in up in the States or up in the city, and he's fighting the Vulture. Some random stuff. All very good. I'm trying to get to the bread and butter. Here we have the Black Cat. Who was always a very prominent character. He's at the party. I always liked the Black Cat Felicia a lot. Spider-Man versus the Black Cat. I always liked how when the storyline advanced, she was in love with Spider-Man, but she really didn't like Peter Parker. I always thought that was kind of interesting. Here's where he's framed for murder. And I'm still flipping because the Juggernaut, this was a classic issue because it had Madam Web was in it because he needed somebody to help him stop the Juggernaut. And it was kind of cool because Juggernaut at the time had only been an X-Men villain. So, it was kind of tricky for Spider-Man to battle someone who was, the Juggernaut was pretty much unstoppable. But, he's still Spider-Man. I mean, he's going to figure out a way because there was no cell phones back then. So he couldn't exactly call the X-Men for help. The Cobra's back. Hyde. Now you have the Tarantula's back. As I keep, like I said, I'm flipping so I don't bore you forever. Closing in, here's issue 234. As my dogs bark more, the Tarantula, who looks a lot like Charles Bronson, in my opinion. Still going on. 236, now he's fighting the thing with all the legs, the mutant spider. It just gets crazy. Stilt Man, you can't ever go wrong with Stilt Man. That's pure sarcasm. As, Aunt May is in there. Now we're going to the king size annual because the annuals would come out and they were part of it. This one had oops, I went a little too far. As you can see, there is the new Captain Marvel. This was her first appearance. She teams up with Spidey because he obviously has to help. And here's the iconic. This is it. 238 in the shadows of evil's past. And it says, and here's the key if you're a collector. The bonus feature is it had a free lakeside skin tattoo. Tattoos. Tattooz. If you are going to buy that book out in the wild and you pay a high dollar, make sure it has those tattoos in the back. If it doesn't, that will knock a nice chunk of change off of the value. So make sure you look for that. The story sounds out simple enough. And about when we get midway through, This guy, this mysterious man in the trench coat, finds the Green Goblin stash, starts reworking and remaking everything, and at the end, he calls himself the Hobgoblin. And 239 is actually the first time that he's going to battle Spidey, sort of, toward the very end. He's just basically remade all the Green Goblin stuff. He's Ned Leeds in the books. You know, he thinks he killed him. You know, you thought it was like a 2-issue thing, but, I mean, to this day, he's around. Of course, you got to get the Vulture again for a few issues, wreaking havoc. Still more Vulture as I go through. Vulture's always been an iconic villain of sorts. And, you know, here we're going to go, and we've got confrontations as he's fighting the awesome android. Spidey did fight a lot of random people from time to time as I flip through a little bit quicker here, like I said, trying to save a little time, you know. Pumpkin bombs, what is the pumpkin bombs for, you know, because Green Goblin was gone, you know, he was killed off, so somebody had to take up the mantle, I guess, but there he is. No one knows who the Hobgoblin is. He just kind of strikes from time to time, very much a almost like a kingpin of crime. 245 is another iconic cover. You know, he's gonna find him. You know, the Hobgoblin's hiding out, and we don't know who the Hobgoblin is. I mean, they kept that a secret for, you know, quite a while. This is Amazing Spider-Man, the Watchers talking here, you know, talking about JJ. Just another weird one. Here Spidey's just simply going against random thugs. Here we got a special appearance with Thunderball. Always a classic to have on there. Spidey's, you know, telling the origins. Back with the Hobgoblin, the hatred of the Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin really did become, you know, iconic. To this day, I have a Hobgoblin statue. If anyone wants a tour, well, let me know. I'm more than happy to film it. I got a beautiful one. Going to the annual. Black Cat saved him, but the Hobgoblin always gets away on the flying copter. You know, more craziness. You know, Harry's married now. It's very different than the books if you've never read it. Kingpin of Crime has a little appearance there. Now the Kingpin, he's getting involved because the Hobgoblin is actually kind of taking some business away. He wants to be the Kingpin of Crime. There's a lot of stuff that goes on there, and the Kingpin actually saves Spidey because he don't want no shit there. 250th issue, another one here. You know, Spidey's got to get away from the Kingpin's goons. He's also got to sneak back in because he's always late on rent because he's even though he takes pictures of these people, he's either low paid or he's just a deadbeat that can't manage his money. But, you know, he tracks him down. Have a nice big fight. Still nothing. Endings. You know, every issue, too, if you notice, the Hobgoblin loses. The Hobgoblin unmasked. Well, that's all marketing. All marketing. He ain't going nowhere, you know. Find the mask. Didn't find him. Backstory here is JJ was going to be stepping down. It's been going through a lot of issues, a lot of craziness. Spider's Web, Amazing Spider-Man 252. This was, you know, we had everybody was gone from the Secret Wars, but there he is in the black suit. We don't know anything other than it's a black suit. You know, it got ripped. It can change. He just thought it was some alien thing. He didn't know it was organic. None of us knew it was organic. None of us saw everything, but he liked the suit. It was the, I believe, the Puma that might have known, and that's how it is. You know, I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter Parker's apartment. There's a mat, you know, a layout. Aunt May's photo albums. They always did draw Mary Jane like a tramp. Peter's pals and gals, very Archie style. Hammerhead, Dark Rider, the Human Fly. Some of these are some really one-shot offs, but it's still kind of cool to see. Spidey's intellectual stories. You know, there's some original sketches. Here's the original sketches of the black costume. It had the red. Here's Marvel Tales covers. You know, a lot of Hobgoblin stuff was collected in here just because, you know, it's the Hobgoblin. And, you know, there's the cover for it. And like I said, this is a reprint. It's been reprinted. I don't foresee a third print, so get it while you can. It's such a good book. It's timeless. It's iconic. I love it. I love the Hobgoblin. That original Hobgoblin issue 238 of Amazing. It can only keep going through the roof. blueberry beer. Different. It's going through the roof right now because the original Hobgoblin is Ned Leeds. In the new Marvel universe and the cinematic universe in the movies, Spider-Man's buddy is Ned Leeds. We've caught, us comic readers saw that in the beginning. Why would Ned Leeds? This makes no sense. This fat kid. Okay. He's lost weight. Number 2, the end of the last movie. I get them confused because there's Homecoming, No Way Home, Home Alone 2, Home Alone, Lost in New York. In the last one with all the Spider-Men, that might have been No Way Home. I don't know. It's a good movie. Just a lot of homes. Anyway, in that home, they cast a magic spell and everybody forgets who Spider-Man is. Because everybody knew he was Peter Parker because of Mysterio. But now, no one knows who he is. And there's a part in the movie where Ned, and I know I'm misquoting it, but Ned says, hey, I promise I'll never turn into a supervillain and try to kill you. So we could be looking at the Hobgoblin. So if you haven't picked up an original issue of 238, do it quick, but make sure the tattoo is included on the back. If you just want to read this stuff, like I said, best run is Stan Lee. There's no denying. After that, it's Stern all the way. This is his Omni. You can get it at your local comic stores, Amazon, anywhere Omnis are sold. This is Marvel. This is the second print. I've never seen a third print on Marvel stuff, not yet. So I would say pick this up. But I would pick it up. I would read it. If you're a Spider-Man fan, even if you have the original issues, don't open them because they're going to be going up, 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 up. This is your best way to read it collected. But if you've never read it, man, this is, like I said, this Stan Lee's number 1. This is number 2. Go and pick it up today. With that, why don't you let me know? And no one's been doing this, so we're going to try again. Let me know in the comments below. Who's your favorite Spider-Man villain and why? With that, I'd like you to like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and we'll be back tomorrow with, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Uber Book 2.